Let's just say the ratings aren't the same with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever now eliminated. Game 1 of the Aces Liberty matchup on Sunday drew an average of 929,000 viewers. Was down nearly 50% from last Sunday's Fever Sun contest. By the way, not only was viewership down, but attendance was as well.
WNBA players are frustrated after Caitlin Clark's exit from the playoffs. They feel fans have turned away, refusing to stick around to watch the remaining games. Recent semifinal stats show just how badly the league is struggling. Since Clark's elimination, thanks to questionable fouls against her, WNBA viewership has already dropped significantly, and it's expected to get even worse as the playoffs continue.
You want me to just say I told you so, or are you willing to say, Stephen A., you did tell us? Really? Caitlin Clark is the Golden Goose.
What kind of sport lets its best player get treated so poorly all season? The WNBA didn't even allow the Fever to have a home game in the playoffs, and now the league is watching viewership drop after every single game. Compare that to the NBA. Teams advance to the finals and fans stay engaged, yet here, interest is dying with each matchup. Caitlin Clark is now heading to Europe, supposedly taking a break, but she could easily be tempted by a big money move, and can you really blame her?
Be a team overseas who would love to snatch Caitlin Clark away from us and give her a crazy offer. I mean, Ice Cube was about to give her $5 million to play in less than 10 games in the Big.
Who could blame Caitlin if she decided to make a move? She could earn 10 times what she's making now and actually be treated with the respect she deserves. The WNBA even robbed her of the chance to win Unanimous Rookie of the Year. One voter somehow chose Angel Reese instead. That voter needs to be outed to the world immediately.
Should have been unanimous.
Should have been. I agree.
Unanimous. It should have been unanimous. And one of the things that sticks with me is, well, she was the first rookie to get a triple.
Viewership is dropping by the minute, and the WNBA is finally seeing the Caitlin Clark effect in full force. Players know fans only want to watch Clark, and they're right. A.A. Wilson expressed frustration over people calling her game boring, saying, "This is the year I've seen more people call my game boring than ever before." I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Even after winning MVP, A.A. clearly hasn't had anywhere near the impact on the WNBA that Caitlin Clark has.
Wilson, 28 years old, 1,000 points in the regular season. Why is that not the biggest story out at the moment? And why are we talking about Caitlin Clark?
Why exactly? Why when Asia was releasing a shoe were we talking about Caitlin?
Caitlin Clark's absence from the WNBA playoffs goes far beyond just the drop in viewership. It exposes a deeper problem within the league. It shows how fragile the audience base is and how much it had come to rely on a single player to sustain its newfound momentum. Clark was the lightning rod, drawing attention not just to her own team, but to the league as a whole. When the Indiana Fever lost to the Connecticut Sun and Clark's rookie season ended, the drop in viewership was staggering. More importantly, it revealed a harsh truth. Without its biggest star, the WNBA struggles to keep fans watching.
2023 season, the WNBA had grown by 40% viewership from 2022 to 2023. But with Caitlin Clark's arrival, it's grown by 400% viewership. What that means is if the WNBA were continue to grow at the rate it grew from 22 to 23, it would take until 2028 to do what Caitlin Clark did this.
Viewership dropped by more than half after Caitlin Clark was knocked out of the playoffs, a clear sign that her presence was driving a large portion of the league's audience. This isn't a fluke or something that can be ignored. The WNBA has relied heavily on Clark's star power to draw viewers, and without her, the league has been exposed for its inability to retain that audience.
Ever since, Angel Reese had that injury to me, and also coming off of Olympic break, Caitlin Clark separated herself. Yeah. She should have been unanimous. Now to celebrate her, one thing that people forget is as a rookie, she was the most blitzed player in the WNBA, and she still put up 19, 5, and 8.
This sharp decline in viewership is a wake-up call for the WNBA. For years, the league has struggled with low ratings and attendance, but Caitlin Clark's breakout season offered a glimmer of hope. Her games consistently drew record numbers, and for a brief moment, it felt like the WNBA had finally turned a corner. However, with Clark out of the picture, it's clear that the league's newfound popularity wasn't as solid as it seemed. Without Caitlin Clark in the playoffs, the WNBA has struggled to maintain excitement. Fans who had been tuning in to watch her every move found little reason to keep watching once she was gone. The remaining teams may still be competitive, but they lack the star power and charisma that Clark brought to the court. This has led to a noticeable drop in the overall buzz surrounding the playoffs.
There was a Jordan effect on the NBA and the game of basketball. I would argue at one point early on there was a Steph Curry effect on the NBA and on basketball also. You bet your ass there is a Caitlin Clark effect on all of basketball, and especially on women's basketball.
One of the most troubling aspects of Caitlin Clark's exit from the playoffs is how it unfolded. Throughout the season, Clark was repeatedly fouled and subjected to physical play that went largely unpunished. Despite praising her talent, the WNBA failed to protect her in the way a player of her caliber deserves. This wasn't just a few missed calls. It was a consistent pattern of rough play that took a toll on Clark's body and ultimately contributed to her team's defeat.
We don't want fans that are going to degrade us and call us names. I mean, we already see what's happening in the world. Something needs to be done, whether it's, them checking their fans or this league.
The series against the Connecticut Sun was a prime example of this issue. Clark was fouled hard multiple times, yet the referees seemed reluctant to blow the whistle. It was as if the league didn't fully grasp how important it was to protect its star player. Fans watching at home couldn't help but feel frustrated as Clark was knocked around the court with little intervention from officials. This failure to protect Clark isn't just a one-off mistake. It's part of a larger, ongoing problem within the WNBA. For years, the league has struggled with officiating, particularly when it comes to physical play. But when the player at the center of the league's resurgence is subjected to this kind of treatment, it becomes a much bigger issue. The WNBA cannot afford to let its biggest star be beaten down like this, especially when she is so crucial to the league's success.
Racism has been impacting the WNBA well before this year. This is not a new thing. Sure. This is, and in that way, I do think Caitlin's being used as a pawn. Caitlin didn't bring racism to the WNBA. This has been happening, and that I think is what's been such a shock for all.
Caitlin Clark's breakout season was more than just a personal triumph. It was a huge opportunity for the WNBA to showcase its potential to a wider audience. Her games drew viewers from all over the country, many of whom had never watched a WNBA game before. This was the perfect moment for the league to capitalize on the buzz surrounding Clark and build a lasting fan base. But by failing to protect her on the court, the WNBA squandered that opportunity. Fans saw exactly what happened. They watched Clark get fouled repeatedly with little intervention from officials, and they've been vocal about their frustration. Social media has been flooded with comments from supporters who feel the league let Clark down, failing to safeguard its brightest star.
Very, very few people, but there are some out there who resent the fact that this young white girl came out there and did her thing. Rookie of the year, 4th in the league for MVP voting, assist leader, one of the top leading scorers after the Olympic Games. She put on a show, validating all the attention she was receiving.
This has led to a growing sentiment that the league isn't doing enough to protect its stars, which could have serious long-term consequences for fan loyalty. The WNBA is now in a precarious position. Caitlin Clark has already done more for the league in a single season than many players do in their entire careers. But if the league doesn't take action to protect her and other rising stars, it risks losing the very players who are helping to grow the game. This isn't just about winning games. It's about safeguarding the future of the league.
Viewers for WNBA games that Caitlin Clark is not in is like 3 to 4 million. When she's in the game, when it's her game playing, it's like 17 million.
Yeah. Well, I also look at the attendance in the arena.
Yes.
It's 8 to 10,000 everywhere else. Caitlin Clark, 17, 18,000. Yep.
If Caitlin Clark's exit from the playoffs wasn't frustrating enough for fans, another controversy soon followed. Despite her record-breaking season and undeniable influence on the WNBA's growth, Clark was not awarded unanimous Rookie of the Year honors. This shocking snub came despite her spectacular performances and massive impact on viewership. One voter even decided to cast their ballot for another player, Angel Reese, leaving fans outraged and questioning the integrity of the voting process.
No matter if you are rooting against Caitlin Clark because you like another team, There's very few of them.
I'm excited
even
to
if it's
see,
that.
I'm excited to see who.
This decision left many fans outraged. How could anyone vote for someone other than Caitlin Clark? She had single-handedly elevated the WNBA's profile and driven the league's surge in popularity. Not awarding her unanimous Rookie of the Year honors felt like a slap in the face to both Clark and her supporters. To make matters worse, the WNBA has refused to reveal the identity of the lone voter who chose Angel Reese over Clark, keeping them anonymous. This lack of transparency has only fueled fan frustration, with many feeling the league is failing to give Clark the recognition she deserves.
For her to be, and should have been, the unanimous Rookie of the Year.
And it wasn't just one triple-double. She had 2 on the season.
And this is why we would love for the WNBA to make voting not anonymous. Because if you were the person that had
Stand
that
on
one
it.
vote, you should just be able to stand on it, and we
Stand on
should
it.
know.
Caitlin Clark being denied unanimous Rookie of the Year honors is more than just a one-time controversy. It could have lasting effects on how fans perceive the WNBA. Clark did everything in her power to elevate the league, yet when it came time to recognize her achievements, she was denied the unanimous recognition she deserved. This has left a sour taste in the mouths of many fans, who feel the WNBA is not fully appreciating what Clark has done for the league. The decision to award a single vote to Angel Reese instead of Clark has sparked a broader debate about the integrity of the voting process.
Best player in the country.
To the media or me?
As you see it.
I feel like I'm the best player in the
Caitlin Clark's Rookie of the Year snub is likely just another source of motivation. She has already proven that she can dominate the league on the court, and this slight will only add fuel to the fire for her future seasons. But for the WNBA, this controversy has created a problem that won't be easily solved.
Question is, who did it? Speak loud and clear, raise your hand, all that good stuff.
With Caitlin Clark taking a 200-day break from professional basketball, the WNBA faces one of its biggest challenges yet. For the next several months, the league will have to figure out how to keep fans engaged without its biggest star on the court. While the WNBA will have an off period, other basketball will still be played, making this no small task, especially given how much viewership has already dropped since Clark's playoff exit. During this extended break, the league will need creative ways to maintain fan interest, but the reality is clear. Without Clark, the WNBA is facing an uphill battle. She has been the league's biggest draw, and her absence leaves a void that will be difficult to fill.
Basketball has really consumed my life for a year, so I feel like it'll be good for me to kind of reflect back on everything that's happened.
If the WNBA hopes to retain Caitlin Clark long-term, it must take immediate steps to protect her on the court. The physical toll Clark endured throughout the 2024 season is not sustainable, and if the league fails to act, it risks losing her to other opportunities, such as the EuroLeague, where players are often better compensated and more carefully managed. In recent years, the EuroLeague has become an increasingly attractive option for top basketball talent, offering higher salaries and superior overall treatment. If Caitlin Clark were to explore opportunities overseas, it would be a devastating blow to the WNBA. The league cannot afford to lose a player of her caliber, especially after all she has done to elevate the sport and grow the league's profile.
A rising tide lifts all boats. If folks were more receptive to it, more moments would have arrived. I still contend Caitlin Clark should have been on Team USA. Imagine the international, the global audience that would have followed her. But folks missed it because of feelings, not business.
To prevent further damage, the WNBA must prioritize Caitlin Clark's safety and well-being. This means ensuring referees call fouls when they occur, protecting her from overly aggressive defenses, and preventing the kind of rough play that contributed to her playoff exit. Clark's impact on the league cannot be overstated. She has drawn in new fans, boosted viewership, and given the WNBA a level of attention it hasn't seen in years. Yet her absence has also exposed the league's vulnerabilities, particularly its heavy reliance on a single player to keep fans engaged.
Somebody thinks Angel Reese was the Rookie of the Year? Fine. Maybe it's a writer who covered her team in Chicago. Okay. It's not the end of the world. Like, I don't know if Caitlin Clark's going to go, can you believe I didn't go unanimous? Now, I thought we would have unanimous MVP and unanimous Rookie of the Year.
The next few months will be critical for the WNBA as it navigates the post-Clark era. The league must act quickly to address the issues exposed by her absence, or it risks losing the momentum it has worked so hard to build. Moving forward, the WNBA must prioritize protecting its stars, developing a broader base of talent, and keeping its audience engaged even when its biggest player isn't on the court. Caitlin Clark is more than just a player. She represents the future of the league. If the WNBA wants to continue growing and attracting new fans, it must recognize the value Clark brings and do everything in its power to keep her in the fold. Ignoring the bias against her risks not only losing the star who made the league relevant, but also the fans who followed her journey.